Once again, good evening from downtown Rochester, and welcome to the section final. TJ Leverance with you on KDHL. So glad to have you along. The matchup tonight, the 3-seed Cannon Falls Bombers against the 1-seed Lake City Tigers. The Bombers have been the cardiac kids throughout this section tournament since they got to Rochester. Things started off fairly smoothly for the 3rd-seeded Bombers. They pulled away from Randolph in round 1, winning 71-60. Then they held off a furious comeback from Lewiston Altura in the quarterfinal, hanging on to win that one by a score of 71-69. And then you know what happened last week in the semifinal. Dylan Banks at the buzzer, down 1, 4.5 seconds left. Took it the length of the floor, hit the layup just as the clock expired, as that backboard lit up red to send the Bombers into the section final. Banks finished the game with 18 points. Aiden Johnson had 23 points in the semifinal victory. For Lake City, they are the 1-seed in this section tournament and have looked the part in every round, beating Albert Lee 72-37 in round 1. They topped Pine Island in the quarterfinals 65-42, then beat Zebroda Mazeppa in the semifinal on Saturday 63-46. We're just getting things started as we're set to tip off just after 8 o'clock tonight here at the Mayo Civic Arena. When we come back, we'll take a look at the season so far for both of these teams. And a little later, we'll have results for you from the first section final game being played here this evening in Rochester, the other two being played tomorrow night, and the state girls basketball results, too. Some scores to report to you from that. All that ahead before our tip-off tonight here in Rochester. You're listening to the Section 1A final on KDHL.
Every part counts at Amesbury Truth, and the most important one is the part you'll play when you join their team. As the leading provider of window and door products in North America, Amesbury Truth has a part for you. Right now, they're hiring, and those positions come with competitive wages, benefits, and plenty of opportunities too. So you never stop growing. Isn't it time you open the door to a career at Amesbury Truth? Get details and apply online at amesburytruth.com/careers.
Hard work pays dividends, especially in the game. Kennedy and Rusum Law Offices recognize the hard work our area athletes put in, and they wish them the best of luck. With decades of experience, the lawyers at Kennedy and Rusum will advocate for your interests, providing services for all types of law in Minnesota, including probate, estate planning, tax, business, and family law areas. Kennedy and Rusum Law Offices, offering tailored legal assistance in Cannon Falls, as well as the Eagan area. Call 507-298-3121 or go to mpkennedylaw.com.
Faribault Foods has been a pillar of the Faribault community since 1895. As a leading manufacturer of high-quality canned foods, they're dedicated to providing wholesome and delicious recipe-ready food. Keep your pantry stocked with canned beans and vegetables for easy meals at your fingertips. Use Mrs. Grimes beans in your favorite soups, chilies, or tacos. And butter kernel vegetables is a side dish your family will love. For more meal inspiration, visit mrsgrimesbeans.com or butterkernel.com.
Welcome back to the Section 1AA final here in downtown Rochester at the Mayo Civic Arena. TJ Leverance with you on KDHL. The 3-seed Cannon Falls Bombers taking on the top seed Lake City Tigers. Let's get a look at the season that was for both of these teams. The Bombers 15-2 in the regular season against Section 1 opponents. They were 12-2 in games played away from home, that is neutral and road sites. Going 9-1 in their final 10 of the regular season. They had a loss to Caledonia that snapped an 8-game winning streak. Obviously, they avenged that last week. The Bombers at one point had a 10-game winning streak this season from late January through mid-February. They did suffer back-to-back losses on January 9th and 11th. That loss on the 11th was to this Lake City squad. More on that in just a bit. Lake City went 14-2 against section opponents. They are 14-3 in games played away from their home gym at neutral and road sites. They closed out the regular season 8-2 in their last 10, winning 5 of their final 6. The Tigers won 12 straight games. In fact, they did not lose a game in the month of January. That 12-game winning streak spanned from December 29th through February 1st. They never lost in back-to-back games. Cannon Falls is here for the first time looking for their first section title. They were bounced by Lake City in the semifinals a year ago. Meanwhile, Lake City lost this game to Plainview Elgin Millville a year ago. They're back in the section title or the last time they won the section title, rather, you got to go back to 2019 when the Tigers won it and went on to state. This is the third meeting of the season between these two teams. When we come back, we'll recap how the first couple have gone, plus dive into the stats as we approach our top of the hour tip-off. This is the Section 1AA final on KDHL.
Join VESA Spring Garden Mutual Insurance Company and Farm Mutual Insurance in supporting area students as they work toward a successful future. They are learning the value of hard work and the benefits of teamwork. Now that's something we can appreciate, a policy of working together. The staff at VESA Spring Garden Mutual Insurance Company are proud to support the local students and hopes to see many of you in the stands in the upcoming seasons. Go Bombers!
You've worked hard for your money. Keith Myers Financial Services of Cannon Falls can assist you in maximizing those earnings. Keith Myers is a certified financial planner, chartered life underwriter, and chartered financial consultant. Keith and his staff listen to client concerns, implement a plan to address them. He specializes in wealth management and retirement planning. In the Schofield Building downtown, call 507-263-4830 or visit online at keithmyers.com. Securities and investment advisory services offered through Royal Alliance Associates Incorporated, member FINRA, SIPC.
Welcome back to downtown Rochester. We are getting all set for the Section 1AA championship. It is the Cannon Falls Bombers at 24-5 against the 23-5 Lake City Tigers. A look at the history this season between these two teams. Cannon Falls won the first game they played, or won the most recent meeting rather, back on February 16th, just about a month ago. Bombers winning in Cannon Falls over the Tigers 69-61. Lake City won the first meeting between these schools back in January. It was a game played January the 11th in Lake City, and it went the way of the Tigers, a 59-45 win. The Bombers on the season averaging just over 70 points per game, giving up just under 51 points per contest. They have outscored their opponents by an average of 19.4 points per game this season. This is a Cannon Falls team that shoots 45% from the floor. Opponents 39% against the Bombers. Cannon Falls, a 37% shooting team from downtown. Their opponents this year have shot 26% from beyond the arc. And Cannon Falls is a 69% free throw shooting team. Their leading scorer is Aiden Johnson. He averages over 20 points per game. The leading assist man is Dylan Banks, averages just over 7 assists per contest. Also a double-figure scorer at just under 12 points per game. And the leading rebounder for the Bombers, also Johnson. Aiden Johnson averages just under 9 rebounds per game. Lake City this season has scored on average just under 67 points per contest. They give up just over 50. They've outscored their opponents by an average of 18.7 points per game. This is a Tiger team that shoots 45% from the floor. They're a 31% three-point shooting team. They hold opponents this year they've held opponents so far this year to 34% from the floor and 24% from three. Lake City knocks down free throws at a 69% clip. They are led in scoring this season by Hunter Lawrenson. Lawrenson averaging just under 18 points per game. Their leading rebounder is Keegan Ryan, averages just over 9 boards per game. The winner of this game is on to the state tournament to play on March 20th, on Wednesday. They'll play at either Williams Arena or the Target Center. One team is already into the state tournament. That team is the Goodhue Wildcats. What a game we had before us here tonight. Goodhue 47, Blooming Prairie 44. So the 6-seeded Wildcats have pulled off the Cinderella run. They have played their way into the state tournament, knocking off the top seed Blooming Prairie. They also beat the 3-seed Rushford Peterson back in the quarterfinal of the 1A tournament. The 2 section final games being played here tomorrow. Starts at 6 o'clock. It'll be Lakeville North taking on Farmington, and then the nightcap Stewartville against Byron. Some scores to pass along from the girls state tournament. In the 1A, Goodhue beat Mayor Lutheran 65-38 today. They will play Underwood at noon tomorrow at the Barn. Rochester Lord yesterday losing to Albany 58-41. They're in the consolation game right now. The Stewartville girls lost today to Benilde St. Margaret 73-42. They'll face Alexandria in the third place game Saturday at 2 p.m. And And then Lakeville North losing a heartbreaker 56-55 to Maple Grove. They did win their next consolation game 56-38 over White Bear Lake and will face Rosemount in the consolation title game tomorrow night at 6. Stayed on the mind of both of these teams as one of them will be heading to the state tournament as Section 1 champions. We'll have starters next. It is the Section 1 AA championship on KDHL.
H&R Block offices in Owatonna, Faribault, and Lakeville remind you now is the time to get your paperwork in order for tax season. Book your appointment at one of the offices where in-person or drop-off filing is available. No computer program can ask every single possible tax question. The tax professionals in Lakeville, Faribault, and Owatonna average 10 years experience, and you can request the same preparer every year. File your way at H&R Block offices in Faribault, Owatonna, and Lakeville. All tax situations are different. Not everyone gets a refund. Keen's Crane Service of Cannon Falls offers exceptional commercial and residential crane services. They are DBE, WBE, union contractor, and CCO certified. Keen's Crane Service has the experienced help you need to get the job done right. 24/7 commercial and residential services available. Crane assistance available for general contractors, electrical companies, just to name a few. Keen's Crane Service, Cannon Falls, congratulates Randolph on a very successful season.
Since the turn of the century, Federated Mutual Insurance Company and many of our employees have called Owatonna home. We work hand in hand with our neighbors through giving, volunteering, and focusing on community initiatives. We invest in this community because we love to see opportunities and advancements, such as the new high school and the downtown developments. We enjoy seeing the citizens of our great community continue to grow and thrive. And above all, we are proud to be part of Owatonna's rich history and all that Owatonna has to offer.
If you want an electric motor repaired right the first time, then take it to Cannon Electric Motor in Cannon Falls. Over 3 decades experience will be put to work for you. Cannon Electric Motor is emergency service offered with a 24-hour or less turnaround. If you want fast, reliable service at fair prices, call Cannon Electric Motor, 507-263-5332. That's 507-263-5332.
Back in the 1920s, when an entrepreneur came to town to seek their dream, they needed 3 things: a place to stay, a knowledgeable banker, and an account with First United Bank. Today, First United Bank in Faribault and Owatonna is still helping young people who are starting out. First United Bank has grown to the size it is today by giving sound financial advice and personal service to its customers for over 100 years. That's why First United Bank is important for young families today. At First United Bank, they didn't invent personal service, they just never forgot it. Member FDIC.
Welcome back to the Mayo Civic Arena in downtown Rochester, getting ready to start it up in the Section 1 AA Championship, featuring the 3-seed Cannon Falls Bombers with a 24-5 record against the 1-seeded Lake City Tigers, who went 23-5 over the course of the regular season. Let's meet the starting 5 for each team. First, for the Bombers, under the direction of head coach Josh Davison. Wearing number 0, Jack Myers. Number 3, Dylan Banks. Number 4, Aiden Johnson. Number 5, Carson Henry. And number 23, Gavin All right, welcome back to downtown Rochester. Apologies for technical difficulties. It is a 6-2 Lake City lead, just about 5 minutes in, and we get a whistle and a foul here on the other side, and this will be going against the Tigers, and will put Dylan Banks to the line. Lake City scores so far. Hunter Lawrenson, their leading scorer, with 2 points for Keegan Ryan, 2 points for Gavin Lawrenson. Aiden Johnson has the 2 points so far for the Bombers as Banks misses on the first free throw. Cannon Falls this season is a 69% free throw shooting team. Banks from the line is a 63% free throw shooter as he gets the second one. So Dylan Banks and Aiden Johnson on the board for Cannon Falls. They trail 6-3 just about 5 minutes in. Lake City 23-5 this season. These teams split their 2 meetings in the regular season with the home team winning each of them. Here's a little up and under. Pivot on the near block. Laid up and in by Jaden Shones. So Lake City has got 8 points from 4 different scorers and are out to an 8-3 lead over Cannon Falls. Bombers in their visiting whites tonight with black numbers trimmed in red as Johnson fires a pass. Backdoor caught on the near block. Rising and having it swatting away was Adam Tennyson. Took just too long to develop. Tennyson got over there, had plenty of room, but by the time he was rising for the shot, he had it swatted out of his hands. So it does stay here with Lake City. Banks inbounding with 20 on the timer. Slings down the near wing for Gavin Johnson. Now back into the paint for Banks. He kicks out far corner. Aiden Johnson, 3 in and out. And the rebound secured by Lawrenson, Hunter Lawrenson. He'll bring it up the floor from left to right for Lake City in their home orange jerseys with white numbers and letters trimmed in black. Here's a drop-off pass for Ryan right down the middle of the paint. Ryan has it stripped and it goes off his thigh. It'll head back the other way for Cannon Falls. The Bombers this season in games played away from Cannon Falls, 12-2. They closed out the regular season going 9-1. They separated from Cannon Falls in the first round, and they've won their quarterfinal and semifinal by a combined 3 points as Johnson had it poked away in the corner far side. Stays here with Cannon Falls, 27 seconds on the shot clock. A 2-point victory over Lewiston Altura in the quarterfinal on this floor. It was a game the Bombers led by 20 in the second half and held on, and then in the auditorium on Saturday, buzzer beater to beat Caledonia is attacking the rim is Banks, and Banks accelerating from the far wing, puts it up and in with the right hand. Dylan Banks has 3 of his team's 5. Bombers back within 3. Just over 6 minutes gone in the first half. Now shouldering his way down the near lane line. Up with the right hand is Shones. Can't get it to go, but the follow falls put in by Shones following his own shot. So Jaden Shones, the game's leading scorer with 4 in the early going. Tennyson on the far wing into the far corner. Now swung up top of the key. Gavin Johnson, 3 straight on off the back of the iron. Falls out again. And the Tigers grab the board, outletting for Lawrenson, who will bring it up the floor, being guarded by Dylan Banks. Switches to his right. Kicks out near wing here for Jack Meinke, who came in at the last whistle. Now dumped down low on the near block for Ryan. Ryan up with the right hand, but it falls short. And the rebound taken by Gavin Johnson and the Bombers, bringing it up from left to right. Right to left, rather. Banks at the top of the key. Feeds near elbow for Aiden Johnson. He turns, fires, and connects on the jumper. Aiden Johnson, 4 points so far. He averages 20 a game. Cannon Falls back within 3. Back and forth we've gone here in the first 7 minutes of this one. Now here's Ryan slinging a pass on the block near side for Shones. He spins to his left, now back to his right. Rises into Myers. And he can't get it off. Good defense from Myers, forcing the miss. Rebounded by the Bombers. Here comes Banks trying to lead a charge up the floor. Loses a handle. Feeds it out to the far wing where it's handled by Myers. Myers drives into the corner. Up and has it blocked by Shones, who stepped on the baseline as he came down and caught it. So Cannon Falls catching a break there as Shones losing awareness of where he was on the floor for a moment. As Myers heads out of the game, into the game for the Bombers, or checking back in, I should say, is Carson Henry, who catches a lob at the free throw line off the inbound. Now hands for Johnson, who hands for Banks. Top the key, Banks throws a lob back door. Johnson has to toe tap along the baseline to save it. He cannot save it. And Cannon Falls will give the ball back to Lake City. The Tigers through the section tournament, a 72-37 win in round 1 over Albert Lee. 65-42 victory against Pine Island in the quarterfinal. Beat Zumbrota Mazeppa 63-46 in the semifinal. Here's Lawrenson, top the key, dribbling to his left. Now rises for three from straight on and knocks it down. First made three of the game. Put up and in there by Hunter Lawrenson. And Lake City out to a 13-7 lead. Lawrenson, the leading scorer for these Tigers, averages 18 a game. He is a 33% three-point shooter this season. Johnson at the far wing for the Bombers in front of the Lake City bench, has it tapped out by Ryan, and stays here with Cannon Falls. 14 on the shot clock. Cannon Falls this season 15-2 in section games as Johnson catches on the elbow, back to the basket at the free throw line, trying to pivot around, hooked and fouled. And that is the game's just second foul. Both of them have been called on Lake City. And that foul called on Lawrenson. It'll be his first, second team foul. The other Tiger to pick up a foul so far in this half is Gavin Lawrenson. So each Lawrenson with a foul in the early going. Now here's Banks driving at the near block. Rises, has it swatted right back at him by Ryan and taken away by Lake City. But Gavin Johnson picks a pocket at half court. Here's Johnson driving at the near block. Hit before a reverse layup attempt. And that'll be the third team foul called against the Tigers. Foul for Lake City against Alec McElmurray. So McElmurray picks up his first. Team's third. Bombers yet to commit a foul as Tennyson heads off. And Myers returns for the Bombers. He catches it in the corner near side. Now Banks slings it down low on the block for Henry. Henry had it poked away. Ball loose at the top. The key recovered by Johnson. Aiden Johnson now spins to his right. Drives to the short corner. Far side. Fadeaway. Baseline J. 10 feet out. Handed the face. No. Rebound by Lake City. Back in transition now. Down the near lane line. Shouldering in is Lawrenson, and Lawrenson can't get the contested layup to fall. Rebound Cannon Falls. Here's Banks accelerating at the near wing. Spins to his left. Down the lane line. Forces his man back and finishes with the two. Two made field goals for Dylan Banks. He leads all Bombers scorers with 5. And Cannon Falls back within 4 as we go under the halfway mark of this first half. Cannon Falls trying to get to the state tournament for the first time. Lake City trying to get back there for the first time since 2019 as Lawrenson drives, has it back tapped away. Recovered by Johnson. Aiden Johnson will bring it up the floor with Ryan on him. Feeds off for Banks here near side. Banks had 18 points in the semifinal win over Caledonia on Saturday. He feeds it on the near wing now for Gavin Johnson. Gavin for Aiden, catching it on the block extended, taking on a double team, spins to his left, rises, had it stripped away. Lawrenson's got it. He's running with it for the Tigers. Checks over his right shoulder for Johnson, who's trailing him. Now swung into the near corner. Baseline drive for Gavin Lawrenson. Kick out far wing. 3 is away, and it's off. Was put up there by Josh Wohlers. Rebound caroming around out of bounds. And they'll say last touch by Gavin Johnson as Ryan Helmling comes into the game for Cannon Falls. Jones returns for Lake City with 20 seconds on the shot clock. Tigers inbound underneath the right basket on the near side of the rim. Kind of closer to the corner, actually. Jones the inbounder with Myers on him. Lobs a 50-50 ball into the backcourt, and it is controlled by Hunter Lawrenson, who sets up the offense with 16 on the timer. It pulls up at the three-point line. Top of the key. It's off target. Myers chases down the rebound for Cannon Falls. Outlets it ahead for Henry, who finds Aiden Johnson across half court. Aiden Johnson with 2 points so far in the semifinal victory. Finished with 23. Henry on the near wing. Feeds off for Johnson, top the key now. Johnson being guarded there by Wohlers. Kicked into the far corner where it's handled by Helming. Helming down low on the block for Henry, far side with 10. Henry in the paint, spins around, now feeds back for Helming, who drives baseline from the far corner at the rim. Short jumper, no. Rebound though, grabbed by Myers, who puts it back in. Jack Myers gets his first points of the night, and a 5-0 spurt from Cannon Falls has the Bombers back within 2 as we approach 7 minutes to go in the first half. On the near wing for Lake City, now driving is Gavin Lawrenson. Kicks out far wing. Here's a 3. Put up and put in by Josh Wohlers. Josh Wohlers knocking down the tray. First made 3 of the game for Lake City. make it the second made three of the game. And the Tigers go back up multiple possessions, 16-11. Top the key, Myers for Cannon Falls. Bounced into the near corner for Banks, who's being watched in the near corner by Shones. Drives in on Shones at the rack against a double team. Tough take. Banks gets it to go. Wanted a foul, didn't get it. But Dylan Banks is now the Bombers' leading scorer and the game's leading scorer with 7. Cannon Falls back within 3. Here's Lawrenson driving in on Banks. Down the far lane line at the rack. Gets the bucket plus the foul. And I think the Cannon Falls bench is wondering why that call didn't go, why that foul was called, but the foul on the other end was not. Coach Josh Davison getting an explanation over on the far sideline. Meanwhile, Lawrenson will head to the line to try and complete the 3-point play. He's up to 7 points now, and Hunter Lawrenson this year has shot 67% from the stripe, and he gets it to go. 8 points for Hunter Lawrenson. And Lake City goes back up 6 now. 19-13 coming up on 6 minutes to play in the first half. Here's Banks driving in. Tried to kick it across and bumped and fouled. So this will be team foul number 5. Foul called against Shones, his first. Correction, team foul number 4 on Lake City. Bombers lobbing for Aiden Johnson at the free throw line. Pivoting around. Now bounces for Henry on a cut. Back for Aiden Johnson. Top the key. Walled off at the free throw line. Given out for Myers on the block far side. Myers spinning, rising, losing the handle as he went up. And the Tigers chase down the loose ball with Shones in the corner on the near side. Lawrenson walking it across half court for Lake City. He's the game's leading scorer with 8. He shoots 47% from the field this year for the Tigers. Now Shones right down the near lane line. A little reverse layup as Myers came over to block him, and Shones gets it to go. 6 points for Jaden Shones. And Lake City now on an 8-2 run as we approach 5.5 minutes to play in the first half. Tigers by 8. Henry on the far wing for Cannon Falls. Tried to fire it across. Taken away by Lawrenson. Down the near lane line. Up and in. Hunter Lawrenson on the runner. And that's going to prompt a timeout by Cannon Falls. Bombers went on a 5-0 spurt. Lake City answered that with a 10-2 run of their own. Tigers lead Cannon Falls 23-13 with 5:22 to play in the first half. This is the Section 1AA final on KDHL.
Professional fabrication and installation of granite, marble, and quartz countertops is provided by Town & Country Granite of Cannon Falls, founded by Dave Preston. Town & Country employs experienced professionals, and they have a nice assortment of state-of-the-art professional equipment to ensure your job is done right. You literally have access to hundreds of colors and thousands of slabs to find just the right countertop for your home. Call for a free in-home consultation or check their website, townandcountrygranite.com.
Welcome back to the Mayo Civic Arena here in downtown Rochester. It's the Section 1AA final. Lake City leading Cannon Falls 23-13. Tigers in the midst of a 10-2 run with 5:22 to go in this first half. Would like to thank First United Bank, Assembly Truth, Cannon Electric Motor, and the Cannon Falls Area Chamber of Commerce for helping us bring you the action tonight on KDHL. Out of the timeout, Bombers with the rock. On the far wing, it's Myers. Now swings up top for Banks. Banks at the top of the key with 20 seconds on the shot clock. Shones on him. Pulls up for a 3. Shones closes out. Banks can't hit. And the rebound grabbed underneath by the Tigers' leading rebounder, Keegan Ryan. And Lawrenson will bring it up the floor from left to right for Lake City. Gives off for Shones on the near side. Lawrenson, the game's leading scorer with 10. Has it on the near wing. Now sidesteps to his left. Pull up 3. Straight on. Good again. Hunter Lawrenson's second made 3 in the game. That is now 3 made 3s in this half for Lake City. Tigers on a 13-2 run. Now doubling up Cannon Falls 26-13. On the other side, it's Aiden Johnson. Far corner. Contested 3. Gets it to go. Bombers needed that one, and Johnson delivers. 7 points for him on the night now, knocking down Cannon Falls' first shot from beyond the arc. Lawrenson back in transition with Banks on him. Henry hedges for a quick double. Now swung on the near wing it goes for Wohlers. Lobbed inside, passes off target. Gavin Johnson coming over. Tigers will catch it, can't finish from the far block. It's Riley Fick, puts it back up, draws a foul on the putback, gets the make as well. He'll head to the line for a chance at the 3-point play. Second team foul on the Bombers. First personal for Cannon Falls called against Carson Henry. Banks, the only other Bomber who's picked up a foul in this first half. Free throw, though, no good. That's the first missed free throw tonight from Lake City. But the Tigers get the offensive rebound. Another crack at it for Lake City. It's Lawrenson at the top of the key. Gives it off here for Wohlers. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Driving inside is Jones. Had it poked. Aiden Johnson dives for it, and Cannon Falls ends the possession, turning over Lake City. It's Gavin Johnson bringing it across half court from right to left. He's at the top of the key. Swings for Aiden Johnson, near wing. Aiden Johnson with Keegan Ryan on him, and Ryan steals it. Here comes Keegan Ryan. He's all alone. Oh, and a one-handed slam on the near side. The big man turning defense to offense for his second made field goal of the night. Lake City leads 30-16, and we get a whistle and a foul here as Cannon Falls tried driving inside. Fifth Lake City team foul called against Josh Wohlers. That'll be his first personal. So 5 Tiger players with the foul. No one's picked up that dreaded second foul in the first half yet for Lake City. 3:20 to go first half. Bombers trail by 14. Top of the key, Myers. Now at the free throw line. Feeds out on the far side for Tennyson. Now swung on the near wing. Gavin Johnson fires for a contested three. That's no good. The rebound secured underneath by Ryan. Ryan pivoting around, and they're going to whistle Cannon Falls for a reach in, and that's going to go on Dylan Banks. So Banks picks up his second, team's third. And now here comes Lake City the other way, looking to pad their lead. At one point it was a 13-11 game. Since then, Lake City's outscored Cannon Falls 17-5. On the far wing, it's Lawrenson. Catch and shoot three is away, short off the rim. Rebound taken by Myers. The outlets for Johnson, who heads up the near sideline for the Bombers. For Cannon Falls, 2:44 left. Here's Dylan Banks driving, spinning, and finishing with the right hand. Dylan Banks down Broadway with the acceleration. He's got 9 on the night. Bombers back within 12. Lawrenson curling a bounce pass inside here for Shones. He spins to his left, fading away at the rack and finishing with the right hand. Jaden Shones, 8 points in this first half. And it's back to a 14-point Tiger lead. Gavin Johnson slings for Myers. Now swung Aiden Johnson. Catch and shoot three, far side, and that's blocked by Keegan Ryan. Oh, what an effect he's had on this half. Ryan now running down the floor. Feeds across the paint near side for Lawrenson, who gets the running layup to go. 2 possessions now where defense has been turned into offense by Keegan Ryan of Lake City. Here's Myers on the other side. Catch and shoot three. Hand to the face doesn't go, but they're going to whistle Shones on a push-off as him and Banks were jockeying for position underneath. So that'll be the 6th team foul against Lake City and the second personal on Jaden Shones. As Henry checks back in for the Bombers. And back in for Lake City now is Riley Fick again. Lobbed in at the free throw line, now handed off for Johnson. He gets a screen, feeds for Banks, top of the key, 15 on the shot clock. Banks looks to his right, now pulls up for contested three, well beyond the arc. That does not go. Lake City's forcing Cannon Falls into a lot of long three-pointers with hands in the face right now. Tigers are flying around on the defensive end. Here's Lawrenson at the top of the key. Drawing a double with Banks and Henry. Kicked into the far corner for Ryan. Ryan drives baseline, and a bit of a collision there between Aiden Johnson and Ryan. And they're going to whistle Aiden Johnson on the foul, but he looked like he got the worst of that collision. It's a 4th team foul as Aiden Johnson was grabbing his right hand and now kind of shaking it at his side. He is staying in the game. Got 7 points so far tonight. Meanwhile, Lake City inbounds for Lawrenson on the near block. He'll peel back out with Banks on him at the top of the key. 15 on the shot clock. Feeds over for Ryan far side. Ryan's going to catch and shoot for three and knock it down. Oh, Keegan Ryan. 7 points in this first half. He averages 11 per game. And Lake City now is their largest lead of the game. A 19-point lead, minute to play in the half. Here's Gavin Johnson. Corner three, no on the near side. Henry comes flying in for the rebound in a straitjacket underneath. Feeds out at the top of the key for Banks. We go under a minute to play in the first half. Banks heads down the far lane line. Kicks out far corner, Gavin Johnson. Gavin Johnson steered away with 8 on the timer. Now Aiden Johnson top the key with 5 seconds. Aiden Johnson gathers, rises off the dribble. Three, good. by Aiden Johnson. That hand seems to be okay. Aiden Johnson's in double figures with his second made three of the game. Bombers trail 37-21. 33 seconds to go in the half. About a 5-second difference between the game clock and the shot clock. Lawrenson with his back to his basket, looking at his bench on the far sideline. On the left side of the half-court line. 14 seconds on the timer, 18 on the game clock. Banks has Lawrenson way out at half court. Now he's going to get a high screen. Lawrenson rejects it with 7. Kicks into the near wing. It's Ryan. Open 3 with a defender closing. No good. Rebound underneath for Lake City is blocked from Fick. Is blocked by Gavin Johnson. Here's Gavin Johnson across half court. 2 seconds, 1 second. Deep 3 at the buzzer is short. And with that, we have reached the half. It's all Lake City in the first 18 minutes of this game. Our halftime score, Cannon Falls 21. Lake City 37. We're back with your first half stats next. It's the Section 1 AA Championship on KDHL.
Discover Cannon Falls, where small-town charm meets big adventure. Discover the hidden gem nestled in the heart of Minnesota. Enjoy the scenery, indulge in local flavors, and experience unique shopping experiences. Cannon Falls is more than a stop. It's a destination. Stay for a day or a lifetime. Check out all there is to see and do at cannonfalls.org. The Cannon Falls Chamber wishes the Cannon Falls boys basketball team good luck. Go Bombers!
Hard work pays dividends, especially in the game. Kennedy and Rusum Law Offices recognize the hard work our area athletes put in, and they wish them the best of luck. With decades of experience, the lawyers at Kennedy and Rusum will advocate for your interests, providing services for all types of law in Minnesota, including probate, estate planning, tax, business, and family law areas. Kennedy and Rusum Law Offices, offering tailored legal assistance in Cannon Falls, as well as the Eagan area. Call 507-298-3121 or go to mpkennedylaw.com.
Every part counts at Amesbury Truth, and the most important one is the part you'll play when you join their team. As the leading provider of window and door products in North America, Amesbury Truth has a part for you. Right now, they're hiring, and those positions come with competitive wages, benefits, and plenty of opportunities too. So you never stop growing. Isn't it time you open the door to a career at Amesbury Truth? Get details and apply online at amesburytruth.com/careers.
Welcome back to the Section 1 AA final here at the Mayo Civic Arena in downtown Rochester. TJ Leverins with you on KDHL. The Tigers lead Cannon Falls 37-21. I mentioned this point in the first half, but as it turns out, it was a pretty crucial juncture in this game. Lake City had at one point a 13-11 lead over Cannon Falls. The Bombers went on a bit of a 5-0 spurt. Since that point and that score in the game, Lake City has outscored Cannon Falls 24-10. And that's how we've got our 37-21 score here at the half. Let's get a look at our first half stats for Cannon Falls. 10 points scored for the Bombers, or 10 points scored for Aiden Johnson, 9 points scored by Dylan Banks, 2 points by Jack Myers. Cannon Falls hit 2 threes in that first half, both from Aiden Johnson. They did miss a free throw. Lake City led in scoring in that first half by Hunter Lawrenson with 15. 8 points for Shones, 7 points scored so far by Ryan, 3 for Wohlers, 2 points for Gavin Lawrenson. The Tigers in that first half made 3 threes. They missed on 1 free throw. Lake City tonight has points from 5 different players. Cannon Falls has points scored by 3 different players thus far. We'll pause. When we return, update you on the rest of the section finals. We have one team already punching their ticket to state this afternoon or this evening. 2 more will punch their tickets tomorrow. And speaking of state, we'll update you on the girls' state tournament. All that is ahead on our halftime report. This is the Section 1 AA championship game on KDHL.
Join Vesa Spring Garden Mutual Insurance Company and Farm Mutual Insurance in supporting area students as they work toward a successful future. They are learning the value of hard work and the benefits of teamwork. Now that's something we can appreciate, a policy of working together. The staff at Vesa Spring Garden Mutual Insurance Company are proud to support the local students and hopes to see many of you in the stands in the upcoming seasons. Go Bombers!
Halftime here at the Mayo Civic Arena in downtown Rochester. It's the Section 1AA championship game. Lake City leading Cannon Falls by a score of 37-21. Let's get a look at what's happening around the world of sports, and we'll begin with high school hoops. The boys Section 1 tournaments. This is the tournament championship games. This is the second of 4 championship games. Earlier on this floor tonight, it was the 6-seeded Goodhue Wildcats continuing their Cinderella run, beating Blooming Prairie 47-44. The Awesome Blossoms were the top seed. The Wildcats are on to the state tournament. That bracket, by the way, will be released sometime this weekend. 2 section final games being played here tomorrow night. The first up, Lakeville North against Farmington in the Section 1 4A championship game. Then Stewartville takes on Byron in the Section 1 AAA title game tomorrow. The girls' state basketball tournament happening up in the Twin Cities. In 1A, Goodhue defeated Mayor Lutheran 65-38 today. They will play Underwood at noon tomorrow. That game will be played at Williams Arena. In 2A, Rochester Lord losing 58-41 to Albany. They are in the consolation bracket right now. Or playing right now, I should say, a game in the consolation bracket. The Stewartville girls lost to Benilde St. Margaret in the semifinal today, 73-42. They will face Alexandria in the third place game. That'll be played at 2 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. Lakeville North, 56-55 loss to Maple Grove. They did win their consolation game over White Bear Lake, 56-38. They will face Rosemount in the consolation title game, which will be played tomorrow at 6 p.m. The Big Ten tournament going on today and taking place for the first time ever in the Twin Cities, being played at Target Center in Minneapolis. Winning last night, you had Penn State and Maryland. The Gophers were the first game up today, and they are a one and done in the Big Ten tournament, losing to Michigan State earlier today by a score of 77-67. Wisconsin moved on as well. They beat Maryland 87-56. Ohio State appears to be back from the dead after firing their coach earlier this season. The Buckeyes have gone on quite a run. A lot of bracketologists have them in the mix, and they beat Iowa today, 90-78. So they move on into the quarterfinals that'll be played tomorrow. And then going on right now in the first half, Penn State and Indiana playing. The Hoosiers lead the Nittany Lions by a score of 20-13. Minnesota Wild in action right now. They're hosting the Anaheim Ducks and are off to a good start, leading it 2-0 with 50 seconds to go in the first period. In the second period of that game. The Minnesota Timberwolves were been without Karl Anthony Towns for quite some time, but they might be getting used to it. They beat the Los Angeles Clippers, who lost Kawhi Leonard in the game on Tuesday night, 118-100. The Wolves stay out on the West Coast, but they got some time off, or stay out in the Western time zone, I should say. They do have some time off. They take on the Utah Jazz in Salt Lake City. That game will be played at 8:30 on Saturday night. Here in Rochester, Lake City leading Cannon Falls 37-21. Both teams are back out and warming up to start the second half, which we'll have for you on the other side of this pause. It's the Section 1AA Championship on KDHL.
Faribault Foods has been a pillar of the Faribault community since 1895. As a leading manufacturer of high-quality canned foods, they're dedicated to providing wholesome and delicious recipe-ready food. Keep your pantry stocked with canned beans and vegetables for easy meals at your fingertips. Use Mrs. Grimes beans in your favorite soups, chilies, or tacos. And butter kernel vegetables is a side dish your family will love. For more meal inspiration, visit MrsGrimesBeans.com or butterkernel.com.
H&R Block offices in Owatonna, Faribault, and Lakeville remind you now is the time to get your paperwork in order for tax season. Book your appointment at one of the offices where in-person or drop-off filing is available. No computer program can ask every single possible tax question. The tax professionals in Lakeville, Faribault, and Owatonna average 10 years experience, and you can request the same preparer every year. File your way at H&R Block offices in Faribault, Owatonna, and Lakeville. All tax situations are different. Not everyone gets a refund.
Discover Cannon Falls, where small-town charm meets big adventure. Discover the hidden gem nestled in the heart of Minnesota. Enjoy the scenery, indulge in local flavors, and experience unique shopping experiences. Cannon Falls is more than a stop. It's a destination. Stay for a day or a lifetime. Check out all there is to see and do at cannonfalls.org. The Cannon Falls Chamber wishes the Cannon Falls boys basketball team good luck. Go Bombers!
We're back at the Mayo Civic Arena in downtown Rochester, getting ready to start the second half. A second half that closed with a big Lake City run. Tigers outscoring Cannon Falls 24-10 down the stretch, as they are just about ready to start half number 2. It'll be Lake City ball to begin this second half. Jaden Schoen's the inbounder at 8 points in the first half for the Tigers. He inbounds for Lawrenson, who went to the half as the leading scorer for the game with 15. Now in the near corner, handled by Schoens. Kick top of the key. Here's a three from straight on. Put up and in. That was put in by Gavin Lawrenson, who had just 2 points in that first half, but he's knocked down his second made field goal. And Lake City adds on 3 more. They now lead Cannon Falls 40-21. Here's Gavin Johnson, drives, gets hit up with the right hand, and draws the foul. So Gavin Johnson will head to the stripe for a pair of free throws. Lake City foul called against Keegan Ryan, his first. Now Gavin Johnson at the stripe. Lake City, or rather Cannon Falls, missed 1 free throw in that second half, and they've now missed 2 on the game, as Gavin Johnson missing on the first. Gavin Johnson shut out in that first half. This season, Johnson has averaged just over 12 points per game, as Gavin Johnson heads out of the game, making the second free throw. 40-22 lead for Lake City, and Johnson will check right back in. I think his head coach, Josh Davison, just wanted to have a couple words with him, just coach him up a bit. Here's Lawrenson on the near wing for Lake City. Give it off for Ryan near corner. Ryan with Aiden Johnson on him. Tried to fire inside. It's caught by Schoens on the near block. Schoens seals off Myers. Scoots along the baseline and kisses it up and in off the glass. Jaden Schoens is now in double figures with 10. Second Lake City score to reach double figures tonight. It's a 42-22 lead for the Tigers, just over a minute into the second half. Here's Henry in the short corner near side. Drives, spins to his right. Now pivots back to his left. In the paint, Henry, nifty footwork, puts that one up and in. Carson Henry gets his first points of the game. Henry this season averages just over 7 points per contest. Top of the key, Schoens for Lake City. Draws a double team. Feeds now at the free throw line. Kick out for Lawrenson in the far corner. Lawrenson with Tennyson on him, and Tennyson draped on him. Lawrenson has to peel back out near half court to reset things with 13 on the shot clock. Lawrenson driving in with his right. Bumps off Tennyson. Pulls up for the mid-range. No good. Ryan, the putback rebound, good. And Keegan Ryan now up to 9 points. And the Lake City lead returns to 20. Here's Dylan Banks, top of the key. Had 9 points in the first half. Gives for Aiden Johnson to put up 10 in the first half. Henry in the short corner near side. Back to the basket to the free throw line. Feeds off top of the key for Tennyson off the screen. Tennyson rises. 3 in and out. Rebound grab by the Tigers. And it'll be walked across half court here for Lake City by Lawrenson. Lawrenson draws a quick hedge. Now for Ryan. He feeds inside, where it is caught off of a tip by Fick. Fick driving baseline, and Fick's able to put it up and in. First points of the night for Riley Fick. And the Bombers have added on to their lead, led by 16 at half, are now up 22. And we get a whistle and a foul call underneath on Jaden Schoens, so that'll be his third. And it will put Dylan Banks at the line. 2 fouls called against Cannon Falls so far this half. So Banks to the stripe where he is 1 of 2. Right-handed free throw away and good. Like to take this time and thank Faribault Foods, Federated Mutual Insurance, and H&R Block of Faribault, helping us bring you the action tonight here on KDHL. Gavin Johnson is checked back in for the Bombers. One more free throw coming up here for Banks, who's in double figures now with 10. Made free throw makes it 11. It was on this floor just over a week ago as Lawrenson accelerates at the line, finishes on a right-handed finger roll, his first points in the second half. That Cannon Falls had a 20-point lead over Lewiston Altura in the second half. Cardinals came back and drove it down the floor with a chance to win. They did not get a shot off, though. Can Cannon Falls summon that magic as Banks misses a contested three from the far side? 48-26 lead for Lake City. Lawrenson at the top of the key, driving in on Banks at the free throw line, spins to his left, fades away, tough shot, doesn't go. Aiden Johnson fighting for the rebound with Fick, and they're going to whistle Riley Fick on the foul. His first, team's third. So again, the foul's mounting a bit for Lake City. 3 for them committed in the first 3 minutes, 21 seconds of this half. Similar to how the first half played out too. No one got in the bonus, but the Tigers did commit more fouls in that first half than the Bombers. Here's Aiden Johnson driving in on Ryan and gets to the near block, rises, draws a foul there as Ryan bumped him in midair. So Keegan Ryan picks up his second. And the fourth team foul, so now it's 4 fouls on Lake City. 3.5 minutes into the half. Aiden Johnson, for the first time tonight, heads to the free throw line. First free throw rattles out. Second missed free throw in the half. 3 missed free throws on the game for Cannon Falls. Aiden Johnson this season, an 83% free throw shooter. One more free throw for Aiden Johnson gets it to go. Aiden Johnson now with 11 points on the night. First point of this second half. 48-27 lead for the Tigers. Ryan across half court for Lake City from right to left. Driving in on Aiden Johnson. Gets walled off, kicks out into the far corner where it's handled by Lawrenson. Lawrenson loses his dribble at the free throw line, lobs back for Hunter Lawrenson. At the top of the key, Lawrenson drives on Banks, and Dylan Banks just picked up his third foul on a reach-in. And that's the first team foul of the second half against Cannon Falls. Hunter Lawrenson's got a pretty nasty crossover and a pretty nasty first step. Tough guy to stay in front of even for a speedster like Banks. As he inbounds now on the far sideline as Ryan catches it in midair and while still in the air puts it at the cup, draws a foul as well. Keegan Ryan will head to the line for a chance at the 3-point play as he's now in double figures with 11. The Bomber foul called against Myers, his first. First free throw, the only free throw I should say, falls short. First missed free throw this second half for Lake City. They missed one in the first half. Tigers lead by 23. Here's Aiden Johnson on the other side at the near block, rises and bumped in the air. Draws another foul, so Aiden Johnson will head to the line for a pair. This will be the 5th team foul called against Lake City. And the second personal called against Wohlers, who came in off the bench. Aiden Johnson back at the line where he went 1 of 2 on his first trip. He's now 2 for 3 on the night. And I mean, with the foul situation, what it is, that's one way for Cannon Falls. I mean, you still got to generate a whole host of stops, obviously, but that's sort of one way you can try and climb back into this is get to the free throw line. As we get a timeout taken by the Bombers after Johnson makes the second free throw. We'll take one with them. Lake City leading Cannon Falls 50-29, 13:59 to play in the second half. It's a Section 1 AA championship game on KDHL.
Keens Crane Service of Cannon Falls offers exceptional commercial and residential crane services. They are DBE, WBE, union contractor, and CCO certified. Keens Crane Service has the experienced help you need to get the job done right. 24/7 commercial and residential services available. Crane assistance available for general contractors, electrical companies, just to name a few. Keens Crane Service, Cannon Falls, congratulates Randolph on a very successful season.
Back here at the Mayo Civic Arena in downtown Rochester, where Lake City took a big lead into the half and have added on to it. Tigers leading Cannon Falls 50-29. So far, the Tigers have outscored the Bombers in the second half 13-8. Leading scorer in the game for both teams is Hunter Lawrenson of Lake City with 17. One of 3 Tigers who are in double figures. You got Keegan Ryan, who's put up 11 so far, 10 points for Shones. 2 Bombers are in double figures. Cannon Falls has made only 1 field goal in the first 4 minutes of this half, but they have gotten 6 points from the free throw line. And they are in a favorable foul situation as Lake City's committed 5 fouls in the first 4-ish minutes of this half. Out of the timeout, Lawrenson at the top of the key, gives for Shones far wing. Now in the corner it's Ryan, and we get a big collision on the other side, and it will stay here with Lake City. Away from the ball, down in the far corner. Bomber foul will go against Myers. It'll be his second, team's third. And Shones inbounds underneath the left basket on the far side of the rim. Aiden Johnson got it, or rather, Keegan Ryan got a screen, and he sprung all the way to the cup and finished with a two-handed slam. Second dunk of the game for Keegan Ryan. 6 points in the second half. He had 7 in the first half. 4.5 minutes gone in half number 2. Here's Aiden Johnson on the near wing. Fakes a move to his right, now rises to his left for a 3. Doesn't get it to go. Banks taps the rebound out for Johnson. Now on the near side, it's Henry. Feeds up top, Gavin Johnson. The catch and shoot threes away with the defender closing. That's no good. Another offensive rebound pulled in by Henry. Here's Dylan Banks probing. Feeds off for Aiden Johnson. Far side, he takes one dribble, gathers, rises in nylon for Aiden Johnson. His third made 3 of the game. First made 3 of the second half for Cannon Falls. Bombers still trail by 20, just over 5 minutes in to this second half. Jones on the far wing for Lake City. Feeds it inside on the far block extended where it's handled by Lawrenson. Kick back out, far corner for Jones. He drives in now up on Myers, and Jones bullies his way to the far block and finishes. Jaden Jones now up to 12 points tonight. He's got 4 in the second half. Lake City lead returns to 22. Here's Aiden Johnson, slings a pass for Henry on the block far side. Kick out far corner, Banks. Banks handing off for Gavin Johnson. Gets a screen from Banks. Gavin Johnson fires away from 3. Far side, no. Rebound pulled in by Lawrenson. We'll bring it up half court. We'll bring it up across half court. Lawrenson drives, loses a step inside. Now feeds for Ryan, who's waiting in the paint. Ryan, though, misses on the bunny. And the rebound taken by the Bombers. Here's Dylan Banks. Hesitates, now accelerates. Banks at the rack. Through a double team. Right-handed scoop shot good, plus the foul. Dylan Banks to the line for his chance at the 3-point play. Gets his first made field goal of this second half. As Helmling will return for the Bombers. The Lake City foul called against Alec McElmurray. That's his second. And Banks back at the line. Try and complete the 3-point play. Cannot. Cannon Falls missed 3 free throws in this second half. As Banks is now 3 of 5 from the line tonight. 54-34 lead for Lake City. Jones in the corner, far side in front of his own bench. Fires backdoor into the short corner near side. That's Fick catching, driving, and finishing on the baseline drive with the easy 2. 4 points all in this second half for Fick. It's a 56-34 lead for Lake City. Banks drives in, rises, has Ryan behind him, and Ryan's able to rise from behind and smother it out of Banks' hand. Stays here with Cannon Falls inbounding with 26 seconds on the shot clock. Gavin Lawrenson checks back in for Lake City, and Fick will head off. Looks like Fick may have been dinged up a bit. Gingerly getting off of the floor. Meanwhile, Lake City steals the inbound pass, and they give it up for Ryan, and the near corner goes now for Jones. Jones with Carson Henry on him. Feeds over on the far wing for Lawrenson. Now Ryan catches far side, pulls up for a deep 3, in and out. Rebound tapped around. It's won by Jones. Jones drives back in and finishes. That was Fick, rather, I should say. Fick was the one who was dealing with the injury. Jones is still out there as he got the offensive rebound and the putback. He's up to 14 points tonight. On the far wing, Banks in front of his own bench. Inside it goes for Johnson. Shoulders into his man, spins to his left, fades away, baseline jumper, airballed. And Lake City takes it back the other way, leading it by 24, coming up on 10.5 to go. Here's Lawrenson at the stripe. Tried to feed inside for Ryan, but it got tapped by Johnson. Aiden Johnson taken away by Gavin Johnson, who knifes his way up the floor through traffic, avoids a back tap from Lawrenson. Tried to gun it inside for Henry, tapped around. Gavin Johnson controls, and Gavin Johnson slapped on the arm as he tried to go for the ball. That'll be the 6th team foul against Lake City. And the second personal on Hunter Lawrenson. Or make that the 7th team foul, so this does put Cannon Falls at the line for the 1-and-1. Gavin Johnson, who's been held down by Lake City tonight so far, he averages 12 points per game. Gavin Johnson just got 1 point so far tonight. Now at the line for the 1-and-1, gets that one to go. Johnson, a very good free throw shooter, 76%. Cannon Falls as a team shoots 69% from the line. One more coming up for Gavin Johnson. Gets it to go. So 3 points tonight for Gavin Johnson, all from the line. It's a 58-36 lead for Lake City, coming up on 10 minutes to play in the second half of the Section 1 AA championship game. Third meeting this season between these two teams. As inside on the near block, Lake City gives it for Lawrenson. Swung around on the near wing now as it was kicked out. Here's the three put up by Wohlers off target. Put back though underneath is put up and in by Ryan. And with that, we get a timeout taken by Lake City. Keegan Ryan's up to 8 points in the second half. 15 on the night. Tigers continue adding on, leading Cannon Falls 60-36 with 9:59 to go in the second half. It's the Section 1 AA championship game on KDHL.
Professional fabrication and installation of granite, marble, and quartz countertops is provided by Town & Country Granite of Cannon Falls, founded by Dave Preston. Town & Country employs experienced professionals, and they have a nice assortment of state-of-the-art professional equipment to ensure your job is done right. You literally have access to hundreds of colors and thousands of slabs to find just the right countertop for your home. Call for a free in-home consultation or check their website, townandcountrygranite.com.
Back here at the Mayo Civic Arena in downtown Rochester. TJ Leverance with you on KDHL. Lake City took a 37-21 lead to the half and have added on to it since, now outscoring Cannon Falls in the second half 23-15. Lake City has made 11 field goals in the second half. Cannon Falls has made just 3. The Bombers are outscoring the Tigers from the free throw line. The Cannon Falls has 8 points from the free throw lines compared to no points for Lake City in the second half. Cannon Falls did miss on 3 free throws so far this second half. But it's been a collective effort from Lake City. 17 points from Lawrenson, 15 points from Ryan, 14 points from Shones. Driving inside now for Lake City. Out of the timeout is Helming. He gets bumped and fouled, and Helming will head to the line. I believe this will be a 1-and-1. Not sure if I saw a shooting motion. It is, so it'll be a 1-and-1 for Ryan Helming. And Helming this year is an 82% free throw shooter. First free throw, no good. Fourth missed free throw in this half by Cannon Falls. Rebound Lake City. Leading at 60-36, approaching the halfway mark of this second half. Fick, who got dinged up earlier, looks like he's ready to check back in at the next whistle for the Tigers. Into the far corner now for Lake City. It's handled by Wohlers. Swung near side. Lawrenson fires a 3. Gavin Lawrenson can't connect, but Wohlers crashes the boards, and Lowers finishes with a 2. No one boxed him out. Wohlers took advantage. Here's Banks now driving in transition right down the paint. Floater up and over Ryan. No good. Rebound though. Cannon Falls. Swung out on the near side. It's Helming. Helming rising for a 3. That doesn't go. Another rebound though for the Bombers. Gavin Johnson works his way to the short corner. Slings a pass in the paint for a cutting Jack Myers. And Myers is able to put that one in with a right-handed layup. 62-38 lead for Lake City. As we go under the 9-minute mark of this second half. Winner of this game on to the state tournament to play on Wednesday at either Williams Arena or Target Center. Bracket will be released this weekend. As Cannon Falls able to force a stop. Back in transition now is Dylan Banks. Gets a screen from Aiden Johnson. Now Aiden at the top of the key. Pulls up for three with Ryan closing in on him. That one falling off target. Rebound taken by the Bombers, who will walk it up from right to left. Or by the Tigers, rather. Walking it up from right to left. Ryan on the near wing. Gives into the near corner now, where it is handled by Wohlers. Far side it goes for Lawrenson now. Feeds off for Ryan near side. Ryan slings a baseball pass for Wohlers, far side, 10 on the shot clock. At the top of the key, it's Gavin Lawrenson driving in, spinning to his left in the paint. Gets to the rack, finishes with the left hand. Nice spin move, good footwork there by Gavin Lawrenson, who is now up to 7 points tonight. 64-38 Lake City lead, less than 8 to go. Back on the other side for Cannon Falls. It's Helming accelerating at the rack, can't finish on the left-handed layup. And back in transition now come the Tigers. Lawrenson on the far wing. Gives over, now lobbed inside. Kicked over near corner. Here's an open three. Rattles in from Josh Wohlers. His second made three of the game. And it is now a 67-38 lead for Lake City. Lake City looking to defend there, or looking to get back to the state tournament for the first time since 2019, as Aiden Johnson catches down low. He's in a straight jacket, has it smothered out of his hands. Taken loose by the Tigers. And stolen by Banks on the offensive possession. Banks with Gavin Johnson running with him. 2-on-1, gives for Johnson. Johnson back across the paint, far side for Banks, who's able to put it up and in. Good back and forth, good ball movement there by those two. 6 points in the second half for Banks, 15 on the night. 67-40 lead. Now back on the other side, it is taken by Lake City and Gavin Lawrenson. He drives at the rack with his right hand, hit and fouled. Gavin Lawrenson will head to the line for a pair of free throws. Foul called will be the fourth team foul on Cannon Falls. First personal called against Helming. First of two free throws off target by Gavin Lawrenson. I'd like to thank Keith Myers, CFP, Kennedy, and Rushman Law Offices, PA, and Keen's Crane Service and Equipment, LLC, for helping us bring you the action tonight on KDHL. As Tennyson returns for the Bombers on to replace Myers. One more free throw coming up here for Lawrenson. Gavin Lawrenson, that is a 55% free throw shooter. And it's an empty trip. 27-point lead for the Bombers. As we get a collision underneath on the other side as Banks was probing, and a whistle on a foul is a blocking foul. So this will put Dylan Banks at the line for the, I believe, the 1-and-1. And that'll be the third personal assessed to Gavin Lawrenson. As he heads out into the game for Lake City, or back in, I should say, is Alec McElmurray. Banks at the line, front end of the 1-and-1 is good. 3 points from the free throw line so far in this second half for Dylan Banks. 4 from the stripe on the whole night. Got one more upcoming. The hero in the semifinal rattles in the second one. 8 points in the second half for Dylan Banks. He's got 17 on the game. That leads all Bomber scorers. Ryan at the top of the key for Lake City. Banks nearly comes up with the stealing of a rotation pass. Now at the top of the key, Thomas Brand, who checked in at the last whistle, feeds it off for Luke Narum, who also came in at the last stoppage. Ryan on the far side for Lake City, lobbing it inside for Fick, but it gets tapped away by Helming and brought up the floor for the Bombers. It's Helming who made the defensive play, brings it up the floor, fired across the floor into the Cannon Falls bench. Nobody was home. And he'll hear it from the Lake City student section with 6:05 to go in this second half. Lake City up 67-42. Again, these teams split the regular season with the home team winning both games. But it's been Lake City pretty much from the jump this evening. One point it was a 13-11 game, but all Tigers since. Fricks all alone on the far wing. Hands it off far side for a catch and shoot three. Put up and in far side for Luke Narum. His first points of the game. Make it the first made three in this second half. How about the second made three in this second half, rather, for Lake City? And the Tigers now lead 70-42. Here's Aiden Johnson. Three straight on good with Ryan's hand in his face. Aiden Johnson having a nice night from beyond the arc. He's made 4 threes on the game. And he now has the team high in points with 19. Second made three in this half by Cannon Falls, both again from Aiden Johnson. Johnson, the only bomber to hit a shot from three. They made 8 threes in the semifinal win over Caledonia on Saturday. Coming up on 5 minutes to go in the second half. Tennyson with the steal, loses his footing and stepped on the sideline. Trying to run down that loose ball. As Isaiah Tennyson will come into the game for Cannon Falls. Gavin Johnson will take a seat. Here with 5:03 to go, would like to thank Nelson Insurance Agency, LLC, Town and Country Granite, and Visa Spring Garden Mutual for helping us bring you tonight's game here on KDHL. On the far side, probing in for Lake City is McElmurray. And Banks comes up with the steal on a pass inside. Here's Dylan Banks knifing through full court traffic. No look pass out onto the near side for Tennyson, and Isaiah Tennyson has it poked away. Last touched by Lake City. Here with 4:41 to go. Lake City in this game for the second straight year. They lost to Plainview, Elgin Millville in last year's section final, looking to get to the state tournament for the first time since 2019. Aiden Johnson missing on a corner three. Gets it back, though. Now it's Banks at the top of the key for the Bombers. Has Ryan on him. Banks flies by Ryan. Now through a double team. Little up and under scoop shot goes for Dylan Banks. His third made field goal of this second half. 10 points in the second half for Banks. Him and Johnson both tied for the team high with 19. As Lake City leads Cannon Falls 70-47 coming up on 4 minutes to go. On the far side, it's McElmurray. Gives off for Ryan. Ryan with Aiden Johnson on him. Skipped onto the near side now for Brand. Brand being guarded by Helming. Now into the near corner it goes. Back handled for Lake City by McElmurray. Top the key for the Tigers now is Narum with 6 on the timer. Feeds off for Ryan. Here's Ryan with the drive through the paint. Able to get by Johnson. No one rotated on the help. And Narum gets it to go. 5 points off the bench. All in this second half for Luke Narum. 72-47 lead for Lake City coming up on 3.5 minutes remaining. Here's a deep three from the far wing. Hand in the face. Banks can't get it to go. Fight for the rebound underneath. And a foul called against Cannon Falls. It'll be the 4th team foul on the Bombers. Make it the 5th team foul. Foul called on Aiden Johnson, his second. So Lake City will take out Keegan Ryan. Had a nice night tonight with 15 points. Big defensive plays, big component of the rebounding game as well. He's their leading rebounder, averaging just over 8 boards per game. Now at the top of the key for the Tigers, it's handled by Wohlers with Aiden Johnson on him coming up on 3 minutes to go. Wohlers hands it off on a dribble handoff for Narum. 10 seconds on the timer. 3 minutes to go in the game. Here's Narum driving in, bumps into Tennyson, kicks into the near corner now with 2 seconds on the timer. 4 seconds to go with 1 second to go rather, and it's Josh Wohlers, number 4, catching and connecting on 3. Third made 3 in the game by Josh Wohlers, as he's got 11 points. And Abram Tennyson on the other side, able to answer with a right-handed layup. First points tonight for Abram Tennyson. Cannon Falls held to 8 field goals in this second half. Lake City, I'm trying to count them up, but Lake City's got about 16 made field goals here in half number 2. 75-49 lead for the Tigers. Coming up on 2 minutes to play in the Section 1 AA final. Driving inside for the Tigers into the short corner far side is Alec McElmurray, and McElmurray gets a screen and driving to the baseline. Short corner leaner goes for McElmurray at the shot clock buzzer. His first points of the night. Now on the other side, driving inside for Cannon Falls is Tennyson, and Tennyson bumped and draws a foul. So that'll put him at the line for the 1-and-1. Or rather for 2. That's a 10th team foul on Lake City. So 2 free throws coming up here for Abram Tennyson, who is a 6-foot sophomore. So this is the final game for both Banks and Johnson, the 2 leading scorers for Cannon Falls. They were big components of getting the Bombers to this game, as Banks will walk off the floor as a Bomber for the final time. Handshake and a hug from his head coach. Aiden Johnson exits the floor for the final time as well. Getting a hug from his head coach. So Banks finishes his last game as a Bomber. With 19 points. Johnson finishes with 19 points. As end of the game for Cannon Falls is Devin Snow. Tennyson, who's at the line. Miles Reitzigel. Along with Grady Myers. And Helming also back in there for Cannon Falls. And we get a timeout taken by Cannon Falls with 1:52 to go. Lake City leads the Bombers 77-50 here in the second half of the Section 1AA championship game on KDHL.
If you want an electric motor repaired right the first time, then take it to Cannon Electric Motor in Cannon Falls. Over 3 decades experience will be put to work for you. Cannon Electric Motor is emergency service offered with a 24-hour or less turnaround. If you want fast, reliable service at fair prices, call Cannon Electric Motor, 507-263-5332. That's 507-263-5332.
Back here at the Mayo Civic Arena in downtown Rochester, TJ Leverance with you on KDHL. Second of 4 section final games played on this floor. 2 games will be played here tomorrow. It'll be started with 4A as Farmington takes on Lakeville South. And then the 1 AAA semifinal featuring Stewartville and Byron. Second time that matchup has been on this floor in a week. It's the same matchup for the girls Section 1 AAA final a week ago. As Cannon Falls gets it to Reitzigel on a screen, and Miles Reitzigel into the box score. His first points of the night. 77-52 lead for Lake City coming up on 90 seconds to go. On the far side, it is Karch Heggie giving it inside off the block for Connor Bergerson, and Bergerson draws the foul, so he'll head to the line for a pair. 16th foul against Cannon Falls. First personal called against Reitzigel. First free throw put up and in. Big cheer for the 6'7" senior Connor Bergerson. Got one more coming up. Lefty. Shots away, too strong. Third missed free throw in the half by Lake City. 78-52 lead for the Bombers, or for the Tigers rather. Bombers bringing it up the floor, have it back tapped out of bounds. As more subs come in, Lake City's got by far the most players on their varsity roster. As now into the game for the Tigers is Braxton Berlin, a junior who stands at 6 feet tall. Cannon Falls inbounds for Grady Myers at the top of the key. Over on the block far side. Drive in. Nice dump off. Myers is there to finish it with the 2. Myers was set up by a good assist there. And it's a 78-54 lead for the Tigers. 1 minute to go. So Lake City on its way to the state tournament for the first time since 2019. As here's a near wing 3 with a hand in the face. Does not fall. Put up for the Tigers there by Berlin. And it rattles out of bounds. Stays here with Lake City, who will inbound with 48.9 seconds left. Lobbed in, now brought over on the near wing. Here's a three, put up no good. Putback attempt smothered and taken away by Snow. Throws a long outlet pass for Myers. Myers a little hesitation and puts it up and in. Jack Myers on the, or rather Helming rather. I'm sorry, that was Ryan Helming who put that up and in on the near block, so gets his first points tonight. Shot clock turned off. Lake City continues their impressive season. They went into this section tournament as the 1 seed. As Bergerson gets the putback to go. 3 points for him. Lake City went into this section tournament as a 1 seed. They've won every game, including the section final, by a comfortable margin. And for the first time, we get a whistle on a jump ball. So 5.1 seconds to go. Put a pin in that for a second. The Lake City, who lost in this game to Plainview and Millville a year ago, beat Albert Lee 72-37 round 1, 65-42 win over Pine Island in the quarterfinal, 63-46 win over Zumbrota in the semis, and now an 80-56 win in the section final sends Lake City back to the state tournament. Final score here at the Mayo Civic Arena, Lake City 80, Cannon Falls 56. We're back to wrap it up after this. It's the Section 1AA championship game on KDHL.
You've worked hard for your money. Keith Myers Financial Services of Cannon Falls can assist you in maximizing those earnings. Keith Myers is a certified financial planner, chartered life underwriter, and chartered financial consultant. Keith and his staff listen to client concerns, implement a plan to address them. He specializes in wealth management and retirement planning. In the Schofield Building downtown, call 507-263-4830 or visit online at keithmyers.com. Securities and investment advisory services offered through Royal Alliance Associates Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC.
Back in the 1920s, when an entrepreneur came to town to seek their dream, they needed 3 things: a place to stay, a knowledgeable banker, and an account with First United Bank. Today, First United Bank in Faribault and Owatonna is still helping young people who are starting out. First United Bank has grown to the size it is today by giving sound financial advice and personal service to its customers for over 100 years. That's why First United Bank is important for young families today. At First United Bank, they didn't invent personal service, they just never forgot it. Member FDIC.
Federated Mutual Insurance Company is passionate about the care and enrichment of the next generation. At the heart of our charitable focus is youth mentoring and our support of Big Brothers Big Sisters. We are proud of our employees who are currently volunteering to be a big brother, big sister, big couple, or big family, and yet there are hundreds of children still waiting for a big. Ignite your year. Empower potential today. Consider this your personal invitation to learn more about Big Brothers Big Sisters. Together, we can make a difference.
Welcome back to the Mayo Civic Arena in downtown Rochester, where Cannon Falls are being awarded their section runner-up medals as they have fallen in the section final to Lake City, 82-56. Let's get a look at our final stats of the game. First for the Bombers. They were led in scoring by their 2 seniors who have played their final game in a Bomber uniform, Dylan Banks and Aiden Johnson, each with 19 points. 3 points by Gavin Johnson, and then it's 2 points apiece for Myers, Helming, Henry, Reitzel, Tennyson, and Grady Myers. For the Bombers, Cannon Falls finished the game making 4 threes. They missed 5 free throws. For Lake City, they were led in scoring by Hunter Lawrenson. He finished with 17. 15 points by Keegan Ryan. 14 by Jaden Shones. 12 put up by Wohlers. And then 5 points by 7 points for Gavin Lawrenson. 3 points by Bergeson. 2 points for McElvery. And Lake City on the game today made 6 threes. They missed on 4 free throws. The Lake City Tigers are on to the state tournament, section champions for the first time since 2019. Cannon Falls' run at history ends up 1 game short as they conclude the season with a record of 24-6 and fall in the section final. TJ Leverett saying so long. Thank you so much for joining us and best wishes to Gordy and company as we can hope he can get better and be back calling these games next season with you here on KDHL. Have a great rest of your night. This has been the Section 1AA championship game on KDHL.